Hello everybody, and welcome back to OMB Reviews. I am the critic who is a cynic. Hope you're doing well, and today I'll be doing a review of The Great Outdoors from 1988, a film starring the late, great John Candy and Dan Aykroyd. And this is a film this is the first time that I've ever seen it. It's a movie that many people were recommending. It's a 1980s comedy movie, and I'm gonna be honest. I was going into this film huge fan of both Dan Aykroyd and also John Candy. Personally, between them, I think John Candy is just a funnier actor. He's just a little bit more endearing. There's just certain qualities about him that I've always just appreciated that much more. I do love Dan Aykroyd in most of the roles that he plays, but in the end, I think that John Candy is my favorite out of both of those characters. But when it comes to both of them, I honestly felt like this wasn't really a laugh out loud funny movie. I know that might seem as kind of, blasphemy to certain people, but I just really didn't find myself laughing out loud all that much. Now, does that mean that the movie was bad? No, not at all. I thought the movie was actually quite entertaining. It was definitely something that kept my interest, but I was, I guess, expecting it to be a little bit funnier, and it just really didn't live up to that mindset. I'm wondering if it's because a lot of people were maybe hyping it up, and so it was overhyped before I actually went and saw the movie. But in the end, I just didn't find it nearly as funny as that. But anyway, the general story is that you have John Candy's character who just wants to go on this nice vacation up at a cabin somewhere in Wisconsin and wants to take his two sons there because that's where his father took him when he was younger. So he has a lot of fond memories there. It's where him and his father were able to bond. And so the whole concept of the film is that he wants to bond with his kids. But lo and behold, his brother-in-law, played by Dan Aykroyd, ends up crashing uninvited to join with his two very creepy daughters, twin daughters, and his wife as well. And of course, hijinks ensue. I will say one part that happened, there's a few different segments that feature these characters. Some of the funniest characters in this movie, to be perfectly honest, were all the scenes that happen with the raccoons. So there's these random sequences where the raccoons first, of course, knock the trash cans over and tear things up, and they have this really funny subtitles of what their conversation, how their conversation's going. Eventually they put, rocks on top of the trash can lids, and so it mocks them for doing that. And then eventually they leave the trash cans inside, and so of course the raccoons get in and leave a mess there too. And so those sequences were the funniest sequences in the movie, but even those scenes were kind of just chuckle worthy because of some of the lines that they gave the raccoons. And of course the raccoons were really cute, but other than that, there really weren't that many laugh out loud moments for me. And I wonder if it's just because it's from a different era, and so if I had grown up with it, I might find certain aspects more funny, because I don't think specifically it's a 1980s thing, because I've seen other 1980s films that I've found to be quite funny. I've found to be quite entertaining. One film, in fact, that was, another film by, of course, the late, great John Candy, was a film called Uncle Buck, which I've always found very entertaining. I've always found it very funny. So the whole concept of it being, oh, well, if you had grown up with it, maybe you would have found it funnier, could have been true. But in the end, I do like certain films from that era, and I do find films and comedies from that era to be funny, depending on the film and everything like that. So this is a movie that, honestly, as I said, I was expecting to like a lot more than what I did. And it's not a bad movie by any means, but in general, other than the raccoon scenes, there really aren't a whole lot of laugh out loud moments that I can think of off the top of my head. Everything else, as far as the film is concerned, is pretty good. I think the acting is spectacular. I honestly think that John Candy does a fantastic job, again, being able to balance the comedic aspect with also having those moments of heart, especially those moments that he has with his family. And Dan Aykroyd plays a great jerk. He's always been known to be able to play a great jerk very well, and he's able to do that very well here too. And the chemistry between both Aykroyd and Candy, I think, is also very spectacular to see, and all the supporting cast members are also pretty good in that process too. Also, there's a young Annette Bening. I was very surprised when I saw her. I'm like, wait a minute, I know this actress before. Long before she was quote-unquote Marvel in the terrible Captain Marvel film, she actually was in The Great Outdoors and plenty of other films too. So I was very surprised and happy to see that. But in the end, I think the most interesting plot point to me was actually the storyline between the older son and a townie, a girl that he meets on the way there, and then their relationship. To me, that was probably one of the more entertaining and one of the more interesting relationships and one of the more interesting things going on in the movie, because everything else, again, it wasn't necessarily bad. It just really wasn't all that interesting, and what could have made it more interesting would have been more comedic elements. And I know that some people might say, what about the jet ski, or not the jet ski, but what about the time when, John Candy's character is skiing behind the boat? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, it was entertaining, but you could clearly see when it was John Candy, when it was not John Candy, when it was a stuntman, when it was not a stuntman. And in the end, it's just, I think, stuff that I've seen before, and I don't know, I didn't find it nearly as funny as I think some people have. So again, this movie's not bad by any means. I think that the story is definitely serviceable. I think that there's definitely a lot of fun aspects to it. The music by Thomas Newman also, I think, is very well done. The cinematography is fantastic, and I do think that the actors do a very good job. It's just really the story, I think. So this is written by John Hughes, right? John Hughes of all people, and I just don't think it really hit the same notes as some of the other films that John Hughes has done in his career. And as I said, it's not a bad movie. It's not a completely dull film. There are funny moments to be had, but I was just really expecting this to be a much funnier film than it ended up being. So if I had to give this film a grade, I'd probably just give it a B-. I think that there are some moments that I really enjoyed. For instance, I loved the story, the campfire story that he tells about the bald bear. I thought that was a very cool story, and I thought that there was definitely some funny moments with it. But in the end, other than these few moments and the one storyline with the older son and the townie, there really wasn't a whole lot that I would ever feel like I would ever want to go back and see. It's like, to be honest, I would rather have had that story been continued between the older son and the townie, because it just was a little bit more interesting. And sometimes there are these random storylines that you're just more drawn to in general, and that's kind of where I stand with it. So yeah, B- for this film. Definitely not a bad movie. It's definitely not a crap movie by any means. It's just, I guess, a film that really, I guess, wasn't really my cup of tea as far as comedy is concerned. And in fact, the fact that this film is labeled as a comedy, if I'm not laughing a whole lot, then that's going to absolutely have an impact on my grade and my overall enjoyment of it. If it had been marketed as a drama, drama comedy, something like that, maybe it would have changed my mindset a little bit. But going in thinking it would be a comedy and not really laughing a whole lot. And again, I do like Dan Aykroyd in other projects. I do like John Candy in other projects. So it's not that. And I do like other films from the 80s that are comedies. And so it's not that either. So I really just put it down to the actual scripts and just the fact that I guess it just hasn't really aged all that well as far as a comedy is concerned. Not as a movie, but as a comedy, I don't think it's aged as well as some people might think. But anyway, what are your thoughts about this? Am I completely wrong? Let me know why this film is so funny to you in the comment section below. If you like this video, smash that like button or smash that fire button. I do upload these videos over on minds.com and also over on Odyssey. I'm trying to push a lot of people towards Odyssey because I think it is a very great alt-tech platform, and I think it's going to be one of the main competitors to YouTube. Not to mention it's based in cryptocurrency, and so if you watch videos over there and you interact with channels and all that kind of stuff, you gain free crypto coins over there, their own basic library credits, and then you can use those credits to donate them to your favorite creators. But there's a lot of awesome people over there. There's Eric D. July, Young Ripa's over there. You got Josiah Rises over there. You got RK Outpost over there. You've got tons of people. You got people that I like Tim Pool over there too. So if you enjoy those kinds of news content and comic content and pop culture content, you got tons of options over there. And of course, little old me is over there as well. Anyway, that's going to be it for me today. I hope you all have a wonderful day. And as always, God bless. And now for a huge shout out to all of my Patreon members: Albertus Magnus, Ali C83, Andrew Hoyle, Animation Commentator, Brian P, Dion, Divex, Enrique Evangelista, Father Christopher Miller, hail to you, Father, Father Damian Cook, Garrett Searles, The Honky Chonky Funky Monkey, Inflamed Wood, It's a Trap Productions, Jason Clark, Jacob Juice, Jay, Jeff Toon, Jonathan Carney, Laura Story, the Modern Major General, Mag Jackson, Mad Mitch Dunaway, Mr. Peabody and his evil twin with the beautiful hair, On to June, Orange Hat Reviews, Out of Step with Reality, Riff Magos, Rosetta Allen, Steve Glasker, Teresa Martin, Theodore Benden, Tina Bojan, and Tina B, the Empress of the Universe. Thank you so very much for being my Patreon members. And a huge shout out also to my Subscribe Star members: Stan 4, John B, Perpetual Punster, Mr. Roy, Glinzer, Darkstar 57, J. Alex McCarthy Jr., Dean Heiss / the new number 2, J-Rod the Beer Guru, Nebanon G. Adams, and the K-Man. Thank you all very much for being my Subscribe Star members, and to all people who support the channel. It really does mean a lot. If you want to support the channel and have your name shouted out, please make sure that you join on Patreon or Subscribe Star today. If you sign up at the $5 or up level, you'll also get access to exclusive giveaways, including for 4K and Blu-ray titles. At the $10 level, you get all of that, plus you get access to an exclusive podcast that I do with John the Flick Pick Flickinger. There's actually currently an episode that I made public on the channel right now, so you can go ahead and check that out. If you want to have more access to even more episodes and more content and the ability to ask us questions, please feel free to check that out as well. And if you join at the $25 level and up, the Chosen of Valhalla level, you get to have all of those things, plus you get a free t-shirt that first month that you sign up for it, and every month you will be able to access the Chosen of Valhalla live stream, where me and my chosen just talk for about 2, 3, sometimes even 4 hours about whatever it is that they want to talk about. So check all of that out in the links in the description below. You are all amazing and beautiful people, and we all have a wonderful day. And as always, God bless.